Thank you. Whoever Corona is now. It keeps changing. Different people are Corona at different times. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, the quiz. Guys, you got to take the quiz online. All right? It's fine if you haven't taken it yet. You're not supposed to take it till today. I just had a couple people try it earlier. I want to make sure everybody understands. You have to take the quiz online. You go into RenWeb, and there's a link next to where it says quiz, and you hit the link. Now, you have to have the resource sheet. I think it's called Pre-Algebra or something like that. You need to have the research sheet because that shows you the problems, but then you're going to put the answers in online. If you download that sheet, print it out for yourself is what I would do. Go to the link and you'll understand as soon as you start it how that's working together. Baby, I don't know where your protractor is. It's not the end of the world, babe. You don't have to have it. It's just something you might want one for today, but you don't have to have it. All right. So let's get going, guys. Head up your paper. We're with no notes, so we're going right into homework. So 1 to 8, page 499. Page 499. Jack, do you realize that I tape the chat just in case somebody says something that I have to remember? And you like totally mess it up every single time? All right, so we good to go? Yes, no, maybe. People feeling pressured. All right, let's get going. Oh, I am on, guys, 499. Sorry, that would be nice to tell you. Well, it's up here, but page 499. All right, these are kind of fun. I think they're fun. We'll see what you think about them. All right, it says, these are word problems. This is the word problem section for the chapter, and it says, Anne, Doug, and Roy each play one of the following instruments in the band: clarinet, flute, and trumpet. And then it goes on and tells us stuff about the trumpet player's boy, Roy bought a new reed, blah, blah, blah. All right, so here's what we're going to do. You do not have to draw this. I'm going to draw a chart because it makes it easier, I think, for me to explain things. You do not have to draw a chart, but if it helps you, that's great too. Okay, so... And I should have drawn that a whole bunch bigger, but that's okay. You know what? I'm going to give myself more space here. Hang on. Okay, so I'm going to put, the names of the people. All right, so this is Anne, Doug, Roy, and we have the clarinet, flute, trumpet. So what you need is something that looks kind of like this. Whether you have straight lines or not, doesn't matter. Okay. It's the April 3rd, babe. April 3rd. Yeah, we're going to do all 8 of them. Yep. No worries. We're going to do all, well, actually there's one we're going to skip. So we're going to do all 7 of them. Jack was slain by Gabe. Okay. Are you sure? Because like nobody in this country dies from anything other than COVID-19 anymore. So I think that's probably fake news because people only die from COVID-19. So that's not, no, I'm not going with that. All right. Are we good? Okay. Now we're going to look at the clues they give us to figure this out. Okay. So it says the trumpet player is a boy. Well, that tells me right off Anne is a girl's name in case you didn't know that. Anne cannot play trumpet. So I'm going to put an X there. She cannot play trumpet. Okay. Now it says Roy bought a new reed for his instrument. Anybody know enough about instruments to know which of these uses a reed? Anybody know that? It's okay if you don't. Actually, it's not the flute. It's a clarinet. All right, so that means, let's see, if it says Roy bought a new reed, then Roy has to play the clarinet. I'm going to put a little star there. And that means he can't play the flute and he can't play the trumpet. Okay? Because they're only allowed to play one. Don't ask me why, I don't know. All right, now, which instrument does each player, blah, 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 can't talk, player? Okay, you know what I'm saying. All right, remember the trumpet player has to be a boy. Remember that? So we only have one boy left. So Doug has to be the trumpet dude. Okay, which means he's not playing these. Okay, now remember Roy plays the clarinet, so she can't play that. So the only thing left for Anne is the flute. So Anne, flute, Doug, trumpet, and Roy, clarinet. There we go. I had to wait a minute because I know it might take you a little while to get that down. Somebody eats trumpets for breakfast. I would think that would mess up your digestive system. The graph does look like tic-tac-toe, doesn't it? Alex, you were in the band. What did you play? Wow. I love the violin, man. You should have kept playing that. Somebody says later you sound like a dying horse. I'm not sure on that. But Gabe knew about the clarinet because of SpongeBob. See? See? Don't let your parents tell you that, you know, watching cartoons is going to rot your brain. See, you learn stuff, right? All right. So, oh, after you eat the trumpet, you sound, okay, that makes sense to me. All right, let's look at number 2. Chris, Frank, Orrin, and Parrish drive cars made by Chevy, Ford, Buick, and Plymouth. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to set up my thingy right off. I'm going to set up my chart right away. So, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. Okay. Name 1, 2, 3, 4. I wish I could play the violin. Violin is so pretty. All right, so we have Chris, Frank, Orrin, Parrish, or Paresh. It's probably Paresh. Looks like it's Indian in origin. Okay. Okay, my cars are Chevy, Ford, Buick, Plymouth. I can't quite get Plymouth in there, but we know what it means, okay?
It's Plymouth.
I know, guys, I'm sorry. I had to put it to where I could do it, and it was hard for me. I'll try to be better at putting it where you can see it. It's just sometimes it's hard for me to do that. I got Plymouth. Okay, can I go on? Do I need to wait a minute? Okay, I'm waiting. No worries. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay. We got a couple people still working. We will wait. They're probably those kind of people that have to have everything perfect, you know, have to have everything lined up perfectly. Good, good. Okay. I think I have everything. Hang on, let me check my people in the wings. I can't tell from the people in the wings. They're not talking to me. Okay. Okay, well, Pineapple gave me like 7 thumbs up all by himself or herself. So so I think I'm gonna go on. Okay, I got my chart. All right, here we go. Now let's see what the book says. Book says, neither Chris nor Parrish drives a car that has the same first letter as his name. All right, so let's go back. So that means Chris can't drive a Chevy because he can't drive something that starts with the first letter of his name. And the same thing with Paresh. Paresh can't drive a Plymouth. Okay. All right. Now, next thing. Frank has always driven a Mustang. Anybody happen to know off the top of your head who makes a Mustang? Ford. Okay. So that tells us that, what was this guy's name again? Frank. Okay. So Frank drives a Ford. Now, what does that mean? That means he doesn't drive a Chevy or a Buick or a Plymouth. And that also means, I'm going to wait a minute. It also means that nobody else is allowed to drive a Ford. So I'm going to take Ford off of everybody else's slot. So this is what it looks like now. All right. Now, what's the next clue? Orrin has never owned a General Motors car. General Motors is what? Buick? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's a Buick. All right. So Chevys and Buicks are General Motors. So Chevy and Buick. All right. So Orrin can't drive a Buick. What's the other one? Chevy. Can't drive a Chevy. Okay. Now this tells us something. Okay. This tells us that Orrin has to drive what? What's the only choice left for him? Okay, on my chart, it looks like the only choice left for him is right here at Plymouth. Yep, a couple of people got it. I'm going to put my little star there. Okay. Now, remember what that means. If Warren's driving a Plymouth, nobody else can. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to cross that through for Chris. Chris can't drive a Plymouth. Warren's the only guy who's allowed to drive a Plymouth. Don't ask me why. Yeah, the AXA team definitely wins. Now, let's look and see, what does that mean? Come up here to Chris. Do you see how we have everything crossed out for Chris except for Buick? All right, so that means Chris has Buick, right? Now, if Chris has a Buick, guess what? Nobody else can have a Buick, so I'm going to cross it off here. And I'm going to go over here, so Paresh has to drive the Chevy, right? So Chris, Buick, Frank, Ford, Orrin, Plymouth, and Paresh, Chevy. Yeah, why they're not allowed to drive the other kind of cars, I don't know. Must be the big math lobby. They're allergic. Yeah, okay, that works for me. Why not? We'll say they're allergic. Let's do that. Chevy is the best. Well, that's an opinion. I like Fords myself, although I drive a Jeep. Does Ford make Jeep? I don't even know who makes the Jeep. Is Jeep its own thing, or is there another company that does the Jeep? That's sad. It's my own car and I don't know. Oh well. Jeep is Jeep. Yeah, okay. Orange Mustang. I don't know. I don't like orange on cars that much. I don't think I would go for that. All right, so let's move on. I'm getting comments on cars, so I'm going to assume
Bentley,
that
you
means
should
we're all
know
caught up.
everything.
All right, so number three. Number three says, everyone at a youth activity was wearing navy or red. There were a total of 10 people wearing navy, 8 wearing red, 3 wearing both. How many people are at the youth? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a Venn diagram. You guys remember these? All right, so we're going to do the 2 circle trick. See that? And we're going to say this one is navy and this one is red. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at my numbers. Don't worry, it's coming back. All right. 10 were wearing navy. Lost my place. 8 were wearing red. And 3 were wearing both. Now, what does that mean? If 3 people were wearing both, what does that mean? What am I going to have to do to get my final number? It does not. Stupid people who make up the problem. Subtract, all right? So I have to take, because 3 of these guys are navy, so that becomes 7. 10 minus 3 for the extra guys. And over here, 8 minus 3 makes that 5. So my total number of people are 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 5 is 15. So my final answer for this one is 15. 15 people. Okay, can I go on? Okay, looks like a couple of people are still working, so I'll wait. Okay, so I'm going to go on to 4. See what 4 says. 4 says, Miss Tipton surveyed the 26 students in her music class. She determined 17 liked Chopin, while 5 liked both Chopin and Vivaldi, and the remaining only liked Vivaldi. So how many liked Vivaldi? You know what? I have no idea. They have this big complicated, in my book, in my answer book, they have this big complicated thing for this. Get this, piece of cake. 26 kids, right? All right, so 26 kids. 17 of them like Chopin. The rest of them like Vivaldi. This is Chopin. This is total class, Chopin, Vivaldi. What's 26 minus 17? 9. That's the answer. And they have this big old complicated thing I'm supposed to do. Forget that. All right, so number 5. Everybody see that? That's all it is. That's it. That's a problem for 4. Is this English? What kind of a question is that? According to the law of order, you are a goofus. Where do they get the names? I don't know. Oh, these names, these are real actual classical composers. But they write classical music, you know, like Beethoven type music. So they're people. If you were into music, you would find out about them. All right, okay, so next one. Song leader, youth pastor, Mr. Carter, Mr. Peak, Mr. Lopez. All right, so I'm going to do my little chart thingy again. Oops, you can't see, I forgot. Hang on, moving it so you can see. 1, 2, 3. These are the people. They do 3 jobs. Okay, who are my people? My people are Carter, Peak, Lopez. It's actually Mr., but I'm not going to take the time to write down Mr., so I hope they are not offended. Oops, got the accent wrong. Sorry, Mr. Lopez. And they are what? They are song leader, youth pastor. Okay, so song leader, youth pastor, overall pastor. Okay, so here's how I'm starting out. Number 3 was 15. Whoever's asking about number 3, the answer was 15. Okay, we ready to look at the clues? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, I'm gonna look at the clues. It says, Mr. Carter lives next door to the song leader. All right, well, if Mr. Carter lives next door to the song leader, he can't be the song leader, right? So we're gonna cross, he is not the song leader. All right, now, the youth pastor is Mr. Carter's son-in-law. Okay, so the youth pastor is Mr. Carter's son-in-law. That doesn't help me yet. All right, I'm going to remember that, but it doesn't really do anything for me yet. All right, so next fact is Mr. Carter and Mr. Peak were on the debate team together in high school. Okay, that means Mr. Carter and Mr. Peak are the same age. So Mr. Peak cannot be Mr. Carter's son-in-law. All right, so who was the son-in-law? The youth pastor. So Mr. Peak can't be the youth pastor, right? Okay, and so that means, and it can't be Mr. Carter, right? Because the youth pastor is Mr. Carter's son-in-law, so Mr. Carter can't be the youth pastor either. All right, so that leaves us one dude to be the youth pastor, right? Lopez. Now, what else does it tell us about Mr. Carter? Okay, it tells us that by the way, if Mr. Lopez, I'm sorry, I should have crossed these out. If he's the youth pastor, he can't be anything else. Sorry, forgot to do my X's. Now, let's look and see where we have Mr. Carter. He can't be the song leader. He can't be the youth leader. What does he have to be? He has to be the pastor, right? So he's the pastor. Now, if Mr. Carter's the pastor, Mr. Peak can't be the pastor either. So the only thing left is Mr. Peak has to be the song leader. So Carter is the pastor. Peak is the song leader. Our church, we'd call him the worship leader, but that's okay. And Lopez is the youth pastor. Here we go. Lopez is a weird name. I think it's probably Mexican derivation. And it's a last name. Remember, I just didn't put the Mr. down because I was too lazy to put down Mr. So it was really Mr. Lopez. Right, like Jennifer Lopez. There you go. Right. It's not his first name, it's his last name. I just didn't write down Mr. Carter, Mr. Peak, Mr. Lopez. So, you know, sorry about that. All right, we good? Adios, haha. Okay, we're skipping number 6. All right, that's the one we're skipping. So we're going to go to number 7. All right, let's see what number 7 says to us. Number 7 says, Aiden, Jeffrey, Lori, Nancy live in the towns of Athens, Jackson, Liberty, and Newark. Blah. All right, so I'm going to start with my chart here. How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4 people, right? Okay. Oops, let's do that. All right, who are my people again? My people are Aiden, Jeffrey, Lori, Nancy. Aiden, Jeffrey, Lori, Nancy. And my towns are Athens, Jackson. Okay, hang on. Get a sharper pencil. All right. Athens, Jackson, Liberty, Newark. Liberty, Newark. Okay, so that's what my chart looks like. If the blank bothers you, can write in people. That's what they are. Yep, I'm waiting. Yeah, I know. I heard that COVID is worse than New York. Probably because it's so crowded there, would be my guess. I mean, there's so many people there, so close together in one place. That's probably why it would spread faster. But again, COVID is just a flu virus. It's not the end of the world. It's not flesh-eating bacteria. Now that's scary. They do not. You're a goofball. All right, everybody got their chart? All right, let's look at the clues. Okay, so number 7, here we go. It says, Aiden has spent all of his life in Jackson. Well, guess where he is? Jackson. So if he's in Jackson, he can't be in Athens or Liberty or Newark, right? Because he's in Athens. Now, that also means, or that he's in Jackson, sorry. That also means if he's in Jackson, nobody else can be in Jackson. So we're going to cross them out. So we already got our chart pretty halfway there. Everybody good on that? All right, next clue. Neither Lori nor Nancy has ever been to Athens. So that means Lori hasn't been to Athens and Nancy hasn't been to Athens, right? So we're crossing through Lori and Nancy from Athens. Now, what does that tell us? Okay, it tells us that who's in Athens. Yeah, the pollution has died down a lot because people aren't out driving around so much. Okay, now that tells me that Jeff has to be in Athens, right? Do you guys see how that works? All right, so Jeff has to be in Athens. Now, if Jeff is in Athens, he can't be in these two either. So we're going to cross through those. So now we only have, excuse me, Lori and Nancy that we're worried about. Let's go see if there's another clue. Nancy lives in a town whose name has 2 syllables. Which of these has 2 syllables? Liberty, Newark. Newark, right? So Nancy is in Newark. And by the way, it's Newark, not New York. There is an actual Newark. It's in New Jersey. So Nancy is in Newark, which means she's not in Liberty. And nobody else can be in Newark. So guess what? Lori has to be in Liberty. Okay, so here's our answers. Aiden is in Jackson. Jeff, here, I'll move it over here. Jeff is in Athens. Lori is in Liberty. And Nancy is in Newark. Yeah, I know. Well, we only have one more problem. We're going to get this done. We got this. I can't hurry up. People will have heart attacks. Everybody just cold their heels. Yeah, they do. I noticed that. They have the same letters as their names. They must have done that on purpose. Okay, how's everybody feeling? Can I go on to the last one? That already happened. Oh, well. No, nobody's having heart attacks because people are only dying from COVID-19. How many times do I have to tell you that? Nobody's having heart attacks. You really do? Wow. Bentley says she has a relative named Jeffrey, an aunt named Nancy, and a friend named Aiden. That's really weird. So that means your name should have been Lori. Okay, last one. Let's look at what the last one says. Determine each girl's favorite among 3 drinks and note any relationship among the girls. Now, this is a poopy one because you know what? It doesn't tell you straight up, da-da-da-da-da. All right, so, but I happen to know because I've done the problem. So we're going to go ahead and set it up. All right, 1, 2, here. I'm sorry, moving it so you can see. Okay. Let's get it away from the number. Excuse me. Excuse me again. How many drinks do we have? 1, 4. Okay. All right, so who are our people here? Sabina, Belinda, okay, Sabina, Belinda, Haley, Ashley. Okay, and the drinks are cola, root beer, lemonade. Okay. Cola, root beer, lemonade. So notice this one's already different because we got 4 people and 3 drinks. So there are going to be repeats. There's going to be a repeat for at least one of these, okay? Okay, now you're just making that up, Bentley. Bentley says she has cousins named Belinda and Ashley. She's just making that up now. One of them could be named Rumpelstiltskin, and she'd say, "Oh yeah, he's my cousin. He lives in New York." Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, let's look at the clues. This one's the hardest one, so stay with me here. All right. It says 1 girl's name is Sabina and 1 drink is cola. Well, that is not helpful because we already know. 2 sisters have the same favorite drink. All right, that's going to be important because remember, we have 2 people that are going to like the same drink. Belinda prefers a drink that all the other girls hate. Okay, so far that's not really helpful. Haley doesn't like root beer. Okay, there's the first one we can do. Haley does not like root beer. Okay, so that's helpful. Haley doesn't like root beer. We got that. Okay. Ashley is one of 2 who likes lemonade. All right, so Ashley likes lemonade. Now, remember, we can't mark everybody off, though, because 2 people like lemonade. So we can't mark all of lemonade off, but we can mark off these. She's not going to, cola and root beer aren't going to be her favorites, okay? If she likes lemonade. So that's how far we've got. Okay, you with me? All right, they tell me that Haley is Ashley's cousin. All right, so that means Haley can't be one of the sisters. I'm just going to put that no sister. Okay, all right. Okay, if Ashley is one of the two who likes lemonade, she is one of the sisters. Okay, so I'm just going to make that little note on the side there. Okay, now let's see. Two sisters. Okay, we already did that. Princess Drake that all the other girls hate. Haley doesn't like root beer. And Haley is Ashley's cousin. Okay, so hang on. Momentary lapse there. Okay, everybody good? Okay, so if here we go. So we've got